I think that young people should be more involved with Occupy Wall Street.
I agree.
Thank you.
What should they do? What should they do? How can they be more involved?
You should go down there.
At least check it out. Stay in school now.
Stay in school, get an education, go down there, check it out, see what everyone's about, just get the word out, and understand what's going on in the world.
Keep it forward.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peggy, and I'm excited to be here today to share this momentous time in history with artists and other people that are concerned about the future of our planet.
Okay.
Hello everyone, this is Lupiani, podcasting here from CREON Gallery on the east side of Manhattan for Peggy Cyphers' Occupy Wall Street, a democratic installation.
Okay, thank you.
Hello Peggy. If you'd like to come in front of the camera.
Okay, we're streaming live. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'm Peggy, and I wanted to do a project that was kind of inspired by all the amazing energy and wonderful kind of contributions of the whole, everyone around the world to the Occupy movement here in New York, Occupy Wall Street. And it's just an exciting time in history. It's the cusp of the dawning of the Age of Aquarius, which starts tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning. And so we're going out of the Piscean Age, the Age of War, into a time of service when the other person is used. So I'm very happy to be able to usher in the Aquarian Age with this event tonight.
Go back and say I can do a little, just do a little introduction on what's going to be done here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back again just to let you know we are allowing all the participants here today to contribute a comment about the occupation, their reflections or on money or the state of the union right now, and everyone is going to have 60 seconds maximum.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm a friend of Lupiani's, and I write about the 1%. So I cover corporate bonds and credit derivatives for a leading institution, and it's an interesting time to be doing that, and I'm also an artist, so it's really kind of an odd intersection of all my interests at once. And between the two, it's hard because I have my artist personality, my journalist personality kind of bickering with each other and trying to figure out which way they really lean. So it's great that we have this dialogue going on, and I hope to see a lot of change and progress come out of it.
My name is George Spencer. I was down there the day that we saw what the brightest and the best thinkers in the country and in the city can come up with, which was the idea of coming in and taking away the generators, the power generators, electricity generators. And of course they did it in a method that was illegal, and there's a lawsuit which will commence about that. So I was down there a couple of nights ago, and I realized that there really was nothing you could do. If you don't have power, you're really finished. So I was walking around the outside of the park, and I came upon a bank of bicycles. They were probably 15 bicycles all lined up like these training bicycles where the wheels are not on the ground. They were all wired. They were all creating batteries. So they figured out a way. All these corporate people thought about a way they could make sure this was not going to continue, and a couple of other people who have a different way of thinking about it thought about exercise, I guess, energy, batteries, and so all of that wonderful idea of getting everybody out of their with the first snowfall is probably going to end up being not going to happen. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jean Wilkinson. I'm a friend of Peggy's, and I'd just like to say that I'm very excited to see people getting up and getting out of their their normal lives and speaking their minds, and this movement that's spreading all over the world throughout the social media that we are using today, and it's becoming incredibly powerful, and it's really a voice for everyone. And hopefully out of this we can start to figure out sane policy on many levels: the environment, finances, people's health, rights for everyone, all these many good things I think are being born here and being planted, and hopefully they will grow to great fruition.
Oh. I'm too nervous to like speak impromptu. I gotta write something. How long is this going on for? How long
As long as people want to.
So, okay.
I'm here to tell you what to think, use your imagination, and original thoughts. What? Now I'm Gabe. Wait, what is the protocol here?
Just read and write something, or say something.
There is no problem.
Okay.
Well, read a
it's not right
poem.
now. It's gonna be broadcasted. Okay.
Nah, that's alright. That's alright. Oh yeah, I'll read this one.
I don't have time to write.
I'm getting wasted with my patience. I can't wait for disappointment. Save me from enjoyment. Too much of a good thing is insane, like drinking poison. No salvation for the spoiled kids. Only humble on my knees when I pray into the toilet. I said I know I talk to God. He makes me pray into the toilet. I'm the sickest MC. I scream in your ear to make you listen to me. Cause I'm so thirsty I could drink in the sea and be twice as sick as you get when you listen to me. I don't know. That has nothing to do with Occupy Wall Street.
Say your name.
Hi, I'm a good friend of Peggy Cyphers. I've known her work and many of her beliefs for a long time. One of the things that I read on Facebook that really stuck with me is that the people who teach our children, the people that we entrust to teach our children, are paid so ridiculously little compared to Wall Streeters. And those are the people they want to cut the pay from. So that's just one of the things that really made me think about the inequity in pay scale. And I think it's amazing this sort of camaraderie and the energy of all these people out there down on Wall Street. And it is the first time in all the years I can remember, I know so many people who are out of work, who are really suffering financially. And yet Wall Street had the biggest year ever in 2010.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, hello, I am Michael Carter, and I am going to read a poem that I wrote today. It's called, not surprisingly, Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street. Theirs is a blast of radionuclide against that subtle cancer that mutates silently through banks and brokers and bonds, barely visible, subatomically strong. This rendering of the fat from the fat. To the 1%, the power elite, rapscallions who profit off other folks' toil and debt, so very far removed, even as they limo past. The mourning horde who struggle to survive this pricey city, to thrive despite the daily beatdowns of capital and its contents. Applaud these brave souls who say enough's enough. Every day, every week, occupy Wall Street.
Hi, my name is Angela. I'm a student of Peggy Cyphers, who is an artist for this installation. And I actually went down with her to the Wall Street, and it was first time being there. It's like it felt a little kind of. I didn't know there was that many people over there, and then I was impressed the fact that they were there for like a long period of time, and they had like tents, and then they had like food coming over. It's like it was very different and very different experience that I had over there. I was only there for like brief moment, but then it was very different. And it just made me think about like a lot of posters are saying like you're the 99%, and like and made me think about that that 99% meant. And for me is, I mean, I guess I am part of the 99%, and I don't know what I should be doing, but I guess people are there to find out the reasons that why we're 99%, and then how to make that 99% into the like 100%, I guess. I don't know what to say.
If you were in the position that and they do everything they can because you don't know how much it's going to recover. He seems to enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely.
He can walk a little.
All I can really say is Occupy Wall Street seems to be very much like Woodstock, which is where I'm from, and everyone's kind of congregating and creating this kind of peaceful atmosphere and trying to get a new generation to speak up for themselves, which I think is really important for us to do, because a lot of times we don't do that. We just kind of rebel against it as opposed to supporting for it.
I had gone down with Peggy actually to do a studio visit originally, and then with Peggy Cyphers, and I happened to go with her to see the No Comment show that she was in. And I was quite impressed with that exhibition and the range of invention of imagery in that show. And it so happened that when Peggy and I left that exhibition, we walked outside, and the march had just begun that day, the marching process. So we saw them across the street from where we were. And the police were, at the time, were having some problem with people entering and coming in and leaving the building that the exhibition was in. However, we watched the general flow of the crowd going through, and there seemed to be a great energy, and it was kind of a wonderful feeling to feel that as an extension of the exhibition that I had just seen, to see the continuity of that. And for me, it was a great day to have seen that show and see what was going on in our present time, because there was a connection there between the exhibition and the energy of the demonstrators during that day.
And so I just think
I really don't like this. Is it recording? I don't know what to say. I'm a art student with Peggy, and I'm a senior drawing major, and I don't know. Can I stop now?
Horizontal or up down?
What do you mean?
As far as the movement goes.
Horizontal.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think I'm involved enough in it. I don't know enough about it, I guess.
What would it take for you to get more involved if you were to get involved?
I was in the show. I was in the Wall Street show. Okay, I was in the pop-up show at the No Comment show on Wall Street. That was pretty cool.
What was your piece?
Oh, my piece was a drawing on the wall of Abraham Lincoln, and
I remember that.
yeah.
I have a picture of it.
And it said, it was a quote by him. It said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And I thought it was from the sign I stole from the protests, and I used that as my inspiration for the drawing.
I loved your piece.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. So that was a cool experience.
What else was in the show?
There were some performers and this person was like acting like an angry protester and yelling about things like a protester would do at the protests. And there were some naked ladies that were body painted walking around. And yeah. It's a huge space at the JP Morgan building, so it was cool. Your turn's done.
I think that every viewpoint has a relevance in this world, and while I'm not a creationist, I do think that there's some reason that all these parts that we're made out of come together in this beautiful way. Like I think that our mothers, you know, they wind up our hearts for 9 months inside their wombs, and that's based on, you know, millions of years of trial and error. And I think the same can be said for economies. Everything that we can do to advance the human race for our own well-being or that of society is based on many years of history and those around us and our environment. So the fact that it's a commonly accepted system for you know, the top 1% to get more than their fair share based on the labor they are doing is completely unjust and needs to be ended immediately, as soon as possible. You know, it's based on history, which is, you know, the elite from the past building on their own wealth, and it gets multiplied nowadays, where all the money and the numbers get lost in translation. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we're seeing now, because as Sophocles said, or so one of these people said back in the day, a leader can never be wrong. A leader is only wrong when the people forcibly remove that leader, and I think that's what needs to happen to this entire economy and those around the world. Gabriel, thank you.
I saw that too.
Okay, I'm making a comment because I came here. I've had this curiosity ever since it started about the sanitation. Like, where do people go to the bathroom and shower? I mean, I have a fascination with the logistics of that many people coming together. And I understand the food part, but I went by a store this evening on about 26th Street, and it was a revolutionary bookstore, and it was like supporting, you know, the group, and I would just think like, well, where can I get a cup of coffee, you know, and just take care of basic needs. So that's been my biggest question about the, you know, the whole movement, just the actual physical logistics. Thank you.
My name is Eva, from Iceland originally. place with socialist medicine, same education system for all. And I moved here in '94, I've been here 17 years. Personally, I don't think that what's happening on Wall Street is going to make any difference. I respect the people there for what they're doing, because certainly I'm not doing anything, even if I don't have any faith in it. And I sincerely hope that I'm wrong about it.
Can I ask you a question? What would you think would make it change? What would make it effective? Is it just that the power structure is too lopsided, or do you see a fundamental change?
Because the people in power don't give a shit. They do not care at all. And what would make a difference? It would take at this point, there would be a lot of bloodshed. Basically, it would like a major change.
That's what's required.
That's what's required, and the way things have become, like strong military, armed cops and all that, it's going to get ugly before any change happens. Or a pandemic of some sort where like 90% of the people die. That would work.
Well,
is there somebody else?
Well, way back, I was picketing for Cesar Chavez for like iceberg lettuce back when I was in high school, and that dates me pretty well. But I think the most exciting thing was just going down to Wall Street and talking to the occupiers, you know, young student professionals, a lot of people right out of school, and so idealistic, and like the things they wrote on, I made a banner they could write on, and very inspiring things. Everything is about peace and love and equality and democracy, and I guess we're just reinvestigating all those principles.
Very cool. And when you thought of this idea to do here at CREON, how did your peers react to it? Did everybody think it was a pretty cool idea? And do you have any stories to share about that? Or?
I think it was pretty much a last-minute idea. I went, you know, the first time I went down there in September, I just was it was so exciting because it's such a concentrated space, and people are, it's just like a maze. It's almost like a space where people are traveling through like a computer chip or something, picking up information every day, new people coming in with their issues and ideas and things that they're protesting. So the democracy there is it's really like, it's democracy in action. That's what's so cool about the project.
How much time we get?
A minute.
1 minute. Let me, somebody time me. Who's gotta watch? This is Felix Morello, the most loved man in New York City. Thank you. I know if you don't love me, it's because you don't know me yet. I have ambivalent feelings about Occupy Wall Street. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't really, ¿cómo se dice? Completa toda la sociedad. It's just like a segment of society. I always feel like an outsider in New York. It's like just Hispanic and then a bunch of hippies, and they don't show you love. But I'm glad they're there, and I'm glad I'm here because you guys have reinforced the fact that it's all about money, you know. So it's about the change, it's about distribution, and me and my girlfriend Isi Ramirez from Juarez, it's about how to distribute the money, the wealth, so like everybody is content, at least not happy, but at least content if they feel like they have a hope. That's all it is, you know, and it's not just somebody getting all the money, all the health, all the, you know, and somebody else just working and being a slave or working $7.50. I call myself right now self-employed, but I'm unemployed. Self-employed sounds better, you know, and I'm under the radar, and I don't want to work because it's not, they don't pay me enough. If somebody pays me enough, then I'll work.
We'll be next.
Hey, am I on? I'm right this second. Frankly, I am an artist and a writer, and I've been so busy lately that I've hardly had time to occupy my own body, let alone Wall Street, but I'm following it really intensely, talking to people who've been there, and it's a captivating thing. It's capturing my imagination. I really hope it's capturing a lot of others. Because I don't think we're really the 99%, the 1%. I think we are a floating mix of people where we have sentiments in all different directions. As Americans, we all want to be the 1%, but we want everybody to be the 1%. We all want to succeed. We want to have that dream. And I think that if this keeps the idea that we can fix some of what's going wrong, and I just got an email today about a constitutional amendment being proposed. I don't know if anybody else saw it. It came from Senator Schumer. It's going to be the only way to get the corruption from contributions out of campaigns is to allow the states to regulate it, and the only way to do that is a constitutional amendment, which is a really hard thing to do, and it's going to take a lot of people. So, but if we can do this, it's after 9/11, it's seeing history possibly being made in a positive way, and if we can capture enough imaginations, I think we're going to be the 100%.
Cheers.
Whoa. Okay. Ok, hola, yo fui a la ocupación de Wall Street. No sé, yo pienso que más bien deberían ocupar a Ciudad Juárez. Yo soy de Ciudad Juárez. I'm from Ciudad Juárez, and there's a lot of violence going on down there. So, yeah, I definitely support, you know, the occupation. Deberían de ocupar más a Ciudad Juárez, que es en donde está la violencia.
Is there an occupation in
sí,
Mexico? Where's the occupation?
Pero they cut it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just cut off. No
So
occupation.
the government cut off the occupation in wow.
Where was it in Mexico?
I'm sorry?
Where in Mexico was it?
Ciudad Juárez. No, it's not the north. The border. It's the border with Texas.
Oh, you want to know that? Yeah.
Yes, please do.
No, both.
Oh. When to start?
How'd you first hear about Occupy Wall Street?
I don't even remember. I went down there because I used to live down there near on Pearl Street, near Fulton Street, near Wall Street. And I saw it in the paper, and I wanted to see how the things had changed since the 1960s when I was there. And I went down the first time. And it was sort of fun. It was like Burning Man, which I've been through 7 years in a row, and it was like people just partying and dancing. People asked you to participate in it. The music was good, and people were just having a good time. The second time I went down there, it had started to change already. It became more boring and ended up as one of the most boring things I've been at. I really went there 3 times.
There you go. Doesn't matter. As long as there's a little one, that's good. I get another glass of wine. I figure out where to put this. I'm sorry, I just have no idea if it's like correctly put.
Well, actually, I sort of agree with Eva, but I actually think that we just really need to accelerate this and occupy the whole world, not just Wall Street. The people there are really doing a pretty good job of getting information out to tourists that are going by, different people. It's just a matter of basically pumping up the volume, is my point. You know, I mean, because any of the revolutions and any of the changes and any of the riots and any of the anarchy and anything that's really made a difference has had to have more, you know, more bite to it. But I try not to be cynical, but basically, Peggy said to read a poem, so I figured the best thing to do is to talk about the money. Money is everything. Everything is made of money. The sky sheen is platinum, the October leaves are bronze, the farmhouse windows are glazed in crystal. Nothing goes on that is not money. The supper hum from the houses, it is about money. The hero moving past the dirt road to the tennis court. It is not being born an American or the shape of the wind on white curtains. It is not money, old friends, or the sun. It is not the history of ideas. The great success is not he married her and they ate lobster, or the sunny sides of eggs and perfect teeth. As usual, you get no answers at all, and there are no history books to refer to. You just come as close as you can and move on. Money never has to take a sandwich for lunch. Money never cries, puts up with, or squanders. Money will not save marriages or rotten novels. It will merely twist them into shape. Money is a postcard from the other side of the imagination. It's the aquamarine and the fake sunshine. Money has perfect knowledge of the world. It never cries, puts up with, or stretches. It never finds itself silly. Money never has to become arrogant or loving or grow gray. Money is, oh God, the true poet.
That was excellent.
So how many people have been to Zuccotti Park?
I have.
Yeah.
Many. Everyone. Me.
So keep it going. Okay. Thank you.
Should I go?
Anybody want some money?
It doesn't really matter what they say and what they think about it, because this is going to happen whether they notice it or not, whether they pay attention to it or not. This is going to happen. We don't know how fast it's going to happen. We don't know if it's a transformation that's happening. This transformation is going to happen because it has to happen. So you can either help it happen or you can try and prevent it. Now, if you try and prevent it, you're going to have a very difficult situation. And if you help it, then it will be like a wave that will carry you to your own self-fulfillment, because we all feel that there's something going on here. It's Occupy Wall Street. It's not only that, it's also about the environment. It's about people just waking up and saying, wait a minute, this is not, I have one life. And I'm not going to live it as a puppet of some corporations who tell me what I'm supposed to wear and what I'm supposed to care about. This is my life, and I'm taking it back for myself. So the first thing you have to do is occupy yourself. Occupy the space within yourself, and then you're going to realize there are a lot of things that we're not getting in this corporate-owned society, and we're going to just go ahead and take them, because these are things that don't cost money. It's incredible. And I'm going to tell you guys a really fun, I mean, this sounds very stupid, but I was at the Occupy Wall Street movement, and I was handing out signs that I had made at home. I hand spray painted them. They were really beautiful, and I was like, okay, and the people were, taking them. I go, oh, well, hang on to it because it may be worth a lot of money someday. The guy goes, are you kidding? After this, there's not going to be any money. And I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yes, oh my God, am I stupid, After this, there's not going to be any money. Okay? I love you guys. See you on Wall Street.
My name's Steve Lauren. I am so glad to have followed a great poet there. I am not able to talk from my memory right now, so I'm just going to read from something I wrote about a minute ago. So my name's Steve Lauren, and I've been a drummer in the past in a rock band, and around 13 years ago I did a song called People's Park, and I went to Zuccotti Park and handed out a little CD showing that. I stand firmly behind the Occupy Wall Street movement, and make no mistake, this is a global movement. My words are my own, and I have a few policy ideas that I would also stand behind. We need a financial transactions tax to raise funds to pay for the social environmental externalities that have been bred by an unregulated global financial system gone mad. Think of relief for unemployment, for foreclosures, for modern debt peonage, for environmental degradation. We need to figure out how to create a global policy space that reflects the people's needs in the face of a globalized financial elite that respects no national borders. Look up Danny Roderick from Harvard University on that. We need to reimagine fiduciary responsibilities so that entrepreneurs who have people, society, and the environment, who value people, society, and the environment, are not sacrificed on the altar of the singular profit motive. Look up Corporate 2020 on that issue. We need to change the law to deny the rights of flesh and blood humans to soulless corporations. Corporations do not deserve the rights of people. Read David Corton's When Corporations Rule the World on that. We need to bring back people power toward democracy by removing and changing the laws and rules regarding our electoral process. Obviously read Ralph Nader on that. We need to embed in policy measures of our society, measures other than GDP. So we need to value health, opportunity, the community, creativity, and true freedom. So the UN has a lot to say on that. So I probably used up my 1 minute of time. Thank you.
What's the UN?
The UN, United Nations.
My name is Alan Lupiani. I was invited by Norm and by Peggy to contribute to this project at CREON, and it gives me great joy to have been associated thus far with Occupy Wall Street and to see how many people have such distinct and different views about the movement and what it means to them. And what I'm most interested in is what will come next. And it seems as if the movement in some ways has stayed horizontal, yet it keeps moving in a direction of organization. And there's a lot of very brilliant people involved in this movement, and amazing things are happening all the way across the board. I think folks like the New York Post gave this movement less than a month. And they've really shown their fascistic ways as far as writing and their narrow-mindedness. And I think it's up to every citizen to take initiative and to be involved in this great movement, which will continue for many, many years. And we are witnessing history as we speak, and you all are a part of this wonderful process. Last thing I have to say about it, I had another point. I can't remember right now, but I'll be back.
Bravo!
Thanks for watching.
Sorry. I think about Occupy Wall Street as a way of, I mean, it's like, there's like an awakening happening. I feel, as a child of the 60s, that, you know, we opposed the Vietnam War. We worked really hard on women's rights and racial issues, and those things have kind of gone by the wayside, and now there's a kind of awakening happening in the country, and I am very inspired by that, because I feel like we have done so much damage to the country over the last 20 and 30 years, particularly environmentally, well, not just only environmentally, but socially. And I just feel very strongly about that. I've been involved very seriously in fighting hydrofracking for gas, and I feel like that is just a huge, the complexity of it is that gas companies feel like they have the privilege and the right to take over the environment and tell a lot of things that are not true. Natural gas is not cleaner than anything else. It is not a clean energy. It is a fossil fuel, and it will continue to pollute the environment equally, if not more, than coal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Oh. Whoa.
It takes a minute for things to click up here.
Hi, I work down on Wall Street area, and what's interesting is I work for a company where no one's really paying attention. Everybody's just in their own world with our company and their business, and it's almost like completely insulated from whatever's going on over there. So I gotta admit, I read the papers and see what's going on from the New York Times, and I stop by and watch the demonstrations, but it's funny how the companies really aren't paying a lot of attention to what's being said there. It's almost like they're just ignoring it, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the way it's going to be. They're all going to be worrying about their own bottom line, and that's it. So that's all I got to say.
But have you comment on Wall Street? Yes, I wanted to give some. I'm on right now. Yes, I think this country has become less democratic in the last 40 years. I think it has to do with manipulation of the election of Nixon. He was impeached. Reagan, I think, stole the election by committing treason, making a deal with about the hostages with Iran, and that's the reason why they were released after the election, and that's why Carter didn't win, Reagan didn't win, and so on and so forth. 1980 was stolen by the Republicans. I do art, you know, about the criminal core in the Republican Party. I mean, it's absurd that they are increasing their budget by billions and billions and billions and going to war, and now they are like the budget cutters. I find that absurd. And again, I think, you know, there is a criminal core. There's not enough oversight in the banking system, and it has to do with the stolen election. And unfortunately enough, now the Supreme Court is people on the Supreme Court are sitting who were nominated by a president who was illegally elected, and that affects the total environment in the United States. And to say again, I think, you know, America is not as democratic as it once was. And I think America misunderstands itself as, what's the right word, as capitalist. I think this country was exemplary as providing free enterprise system for everybody who came here.
Where's my... So, my name's Norm Kinsey, this is CREON, this is MySpace, and Peggy came to me. I was going to do a traditional show and decided to do an Occupy Wall Street show, and I said, that's fantastic, that's great. Talking about the show, we started to discuss why we're here, why is there Occupy Wall Street? How did capitalism get to where it was? And we talked about monopoly. We all played Monopoly as kids. We're all capitalists. We're all trained to be capitalists. We're all indoctrinated. We're all brainwashed, perhaps. We're all part of the system. And we have to look at ourselves and what we want and what we have and what we need. What do we do with our money once we get it? I'm not poor. I have some money. I'm certainly not 1%er, but I'm trying to do with what I have, what I think makes the most impact and what has the most positive impact for me. And I think we'll have to look inside and see where we are and what we want. I have met a billionaire. I rode the subway with Bloomberg, talked to him for the whole ride. He's trying to do something that he's doing. I mean, he's not trying to do the things that Koch brothers are doing necessarily, but I think he's got in his own mind what he wants to do with his money. I don't know. I mean, so I Occupy Wall Street. It's starting the discussion. We need the discussion. We need to know what's going on. We need to talk about it with each other. It's not us and them, it's all of us. So, and I finally get a use for my hat, which I've been using to that. Classic. Thank you.
Do I just start talking? In the abstract, I agree with pretty much what everybody is saying. but I would like to hear some ideas. I don't really have any myself. There's a lot of negative feelings. The world is pretty much anarchy. You could call it whatever you want in terms of a socio-political, economic structure. It's pretty much anarchy as far as I can see. I'd really like to hear a better idea.
Hang out here.
Is this a strong enough back? Good? Starting? Okay. Hello. Yeah, I just have a lot of concern about the dialogue that goes on around the Occupy movement. So I think that right now it's starting very vague, and it's usually very open-ended, but we don't have a history of the dialogue because we've been cleaned out of certain ways of talking. Since McCarthyism, we don't have a common sense of class or a dialogue around class, because for a long time you could get arrested for saying it. And then we had some nice economic booms, so there's never been any reason for us to talk about class since then as a mainstream public. So I think right now we're kind of having childish conversation from what I see, but that's normal because we need to start somewhere. But I think what I think sparked it, just guessing, there's really no way to know, is that we all share this American dream that if you work really hard, then you, or we don't all share, but we're supposed to all share this American dream that if you work really hard, you should be successful and get to be rich, if you choose to be. And if you fuck up, then you should go down a notch, at least. And what happened in the current recession is that the people that fucked up didn't go down a notch. And while it's nothing new, that's just the way capitalism works. It's the first time that it's been so obvious that we live in a completely unfair society and that it's all just a sham. So in a lot of ways, I'm almost glad that they didn't bail out the banks, because it's always been like that. And this is the easiest way, the strongest way that everybody can see that this is how capitalism works. If you have money, you're protected. The laws protect you. And if you don't have money, you're pretty much believing a dream, and if one person from your class makes a success, then they'll make a movie out of his story or her story, and you'll believe that that's something anybody can do. And in fact, it's never been like that. Is that good? Thanks.
I don't know, I feel for these people, I feel for them, I do, and the ones down in the park right now. I like to call it Liberty Park. I don't like using the word Cody Park, because that's like named after a banker. It's called Liberty Park originally. I'm proud they found that loophole, the whole system where they could like set up in a park and, you know, be outside of the whole legal system, so you know, they're kind of like untouchable. So it's a very important thing. Happy it's going on. Hey.
You're happy.
There we go. You can see there. You gotta go lower.
Uh-oh, where's this going?
Too much money. Yeah, it's running. It's like a safety tank. This is our thing. This is our time. I should have brought you some makeup. I had one over there.
So perhaps we're in an advanced stage of capitalism and entering somewhat of a feudal system, and this is what's got to stop. No more feudal America. Thank you.